Now that we've got that out of the way, this happened late Monday night. Mark Ruffalo decided to backtrack his support for Palestine in this tweet right here. I have reflected and wanted to apologize for posts during the recent Israel Hamas fighting that suggested Israel is committing genocide. It's not accurate. It's inflammatory, disrespectful, and is now being used to justify anti Semitism here and abroad. Now is the time to avoid hyperbole. So here's why this conceding of ground from Mark Ruffalo is bad. It has given the pro Israel people vindication that they're right on the issue and that they have the right to defend themselves. But the problem is they're wrong on this. And it's just the reality that you see from most celebrities here. The ones that initially take the right but will feel like a bolder stance for them on the whole issue of Israel and Palestine. Because you have to keep in mind that anti Semitism is wrongly being inflated as a deflection to support the Palestinian people. At the end of the day, they're the ones that are being really oppressed here. And a big part of the left platform is supporting the oppressed people. I've said that you can't be pro Black Lives Matter than pro Israel. That type of inconsistency won't work. You've also seen liberals will that have genuine support for Black Lives Matter, but support Democrats who are counterproductive to it. And here's what the real problem is. It's more than just a small deviation from fully being on board with the issue, being on the right side. It's the fact that now the liberals, are now going to force us to cede ground on other issues. And while Mark Ruffalo is one of the Bernie supporting candidate celebrities, Bernie Sanders also has several celebrities who really capitulated and immediately shifted their support to Joe Biden, such as Dave Bautista, Sarah Silverman. That was the large majority of the blue checkmark Bernie supporting celebrities over time come to realize that more of his support was rad liberals than we thought. And Mark Ruffalo is just another celebrity who falls into that camp of people who are really just Democratic Party loyalists at the end of the day, and that's why we could use a bigger group of celebrities don't who are more principled and won't allow themselves to be compromised in ways like these, because this is the path of what moments like these with your blue check mark people who are more left than your average liberal check marks. And I felt like it was a good point to shift into this tweet from Mehdi Hassan. The right looks for converts. The left looks for traitors. And here's why I disagree with Mehdi Hassan. First off, the left has been asked to cede ground on all their issues ever since they made sure FDR could no longer implement populist policies. That's how long that this has been happening for. And are there small things that are reasonably in the realm of disagreements on the left? Yes. First off, I think we could have disagreements on what type of universal healthcare system to implement. I think we could have a reasonable disagreement on how much UBI people should get, because at the end of the day, with UBI, it's eventually going to be needed to support more one person working households. I think we could have reasonable disagreements on the left about the ways we could transform policing, while as long as you're in the moderate position of defund. If you're there, then I think we're at least in a reasonable spot. I think we could also have fair disagreements on the prison system, even though I think the prison system should be also part of the road of abolition. There's probably a small bit of room of disagreement on drugs, even though for me, I'm big on the civil liberties and letting people make their own decisions on drugs now. Saying that because I used to be someone that would always vote for tax increases on cigarettes due to my experience growing up with a parent that would endlessly smoke. But nowadays, I would not vote on that tax increase in spite of my bias against cigarettes. And that's one thing moving left has shown me, that you kind of have to let certain biases against drugs and alcohol go. So to act like that, there isn't any room within the realm of left platform for disagreement is absurd, because This type of rhetoric, especially from Mehdi Hassan, it leads to the anti-purity test liberals who want us to drop any type of baseline of bar in order for the Democrats to get our support. This was a big thing in recent elections, especially people like Kyle Kulinski and Brianna Joy Gray have really gotten into this whole purity test issue. I will be talking Kyle Kulinski later on, so I'll be reacting to a portion of his live secular talking smack from Monday. But the point is that I think the majority of the left could have made the purity test just adopting one issue from Bernie Sanders' campaign. And I'm sorry, the public option and the $15 minimum wage, neither of which are going to happen, were good enough to get the majority of people over. Even though we had a disappointing turnout for third parties, I think this Biden administration is showing why more and more we have to use our leverage as people to make the Democratic Party earn our votes back.